Some respite from the blazing heat as Californians seek ways to keep cool in the peak of summer. Weather advisories and warnings have been in place again for many parts of the West Coast, a region still recovering from devastating wildfires. Emergency services scouring the scorched earth days after blazes tore through the country's iconic national parks. The state is in the grip of a historic drought, although experts are concerned about another possible effect of global warming: floods, which could displace millions and cause financial ruin in most major economic sectors.
An event that in the 20th century would have occurred about once every 100 years, or would have had a probability of about 1% of happening in any given year. And we find the likelihood of that magnitude of event in California has already doubled. So instead of occurring roughly every 100 years, it might occur every 50 years. And for larger magnitude events that might have occurred only, say, every 200 years in the 20th century, we find that the likelihood has already tripled. So these are still rare events, but they're much less rare than they would have been a century ago.
It's a fate recently suffered by Kentucky, a state reeling from flooding which has killed 39 people and left a trail of destruction in its wake. These counties are not even in designated flood zones, yet residents here have lost nearly everything after a deluge of rain transformed trickling rivers into raging, muddy torrents. Freakish storms have hit Arizona too, Iowa, and Washington, D.C. In America's capital, President Joe Biden did this week sign the Inflation Reduction Act, with aims to reduce emissions by 40% below 2005 levels by the end of this decade.
This bill is the biggest step forward on climate ever. And it's going to allow us to boldly take additional steps toward meeting all of my climate goals, the ones we set out when we ran.
But this unprecedented investment, the largest of its kind in US history, has simply come too late for people whose lives have already been turned upside down by climate catastrophes. Benji Hire, CGTN in Washington, D.C.